Hello there and welcome to episode 1 of season 3 of the Hard Truth Inside the Football Industry
Welcome
podcast.
back, motherfuckers!
We're here at, I have to give it its full name, a sponsor name, I guess, Western Home Stadium,
Correct.
not just London Road.
Correct.
For episode 1 to do a little bit of I guess, a season preview.
History for the podcast, right?
Yeah.
First time we've been in England together.
I know.
First time at London Road. Mm-hmm. You're coming to the Morecambe game in a couple of
Yeah.
weeks. So, very good. Nice to have you
forward
here
to
at our place. I was just saying to Phil there, by the way, guys, that don't worry about all the old furniture and stuff. You know, I like to keep the place looking antique-like. Some would say I'm cheap. I would say antique-like.
You're making the case for the new stadium.
Correct.
That's what you're doing.
Absolutely, yeah. Dropping phone calls, Wi-Fi issues, everything else. So, yeah, really good to be back. Been too long. Really psyched about season 3. Me and Phil promised to be a little bit more consistent. Phil has an empire. He's growing in the procurement business last year. Obviously, I travel a lot. So what we want to do is make sure that we consistently get an episode out every week, you know, whatever happens.
Yeah, we want to do this one before the season starts.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll get this out on Friday. How has your summer been?
Busy. Not just football-wise. Lots of stuff going on in life. You know, a lot of stuff going on at the club, a lot of stuff to do with stadium, a lot of stuff to do with, you know, behind the scenes. You know, personal life, I got obviously children. I got my son going into the final 2 years of high school, which, as you know, is like critical time now for college applications, college tours. So January onwards, that's my main focus. I've promised, you know, I've put it off for a while. I'm going to do tours of about 12 different colleges across America. And then, you know, getting him prepped for SATs and ACTs or something they're called. There's like another version, I forget what it's called. He's now doing IB stuff. And then my daughter will be going through the same next year. So we're, from a family perspective, yeah, it's this will be the last summer I'm ever away from them for like 9 weeks. I'm going to be away from them. So, yeah, a lot of family stuff going on, a lot of moving parts. Football-wise, been really good. We're in good shape. Yeah. I think we've done okay this summer. So really looking forward to it. And have to back up that greatest show on turf mantra that I've come up with, and excited to see how it all unfolds.
And just a shout out before we go into it to the England women's team. I'm not sure if you watched the game last night.
Brilliant last night, yeah, brilliant. Look, I'm not a massive, when I say lover of women's football, that sounds derogatory. I've never watched enough of it to give a proper professional opinion. You know, you get some people who are like going on about it and they don't watch it, so they're bullshitting. But I did see it, really enjoyed it, phenomenal atmosphere. Look, we made a decision as a club a year ago, I think, to take the ladies' team under our banner. It wasn't under our banner before, and there's some great stuff going on in our ladies' football now. Where we stayed up last year, we've signed a lot of professional contracts this year. Bobby, who runs it, with the manager, is a former player of ours, Dan. We're very excited about what's going to happen in ladies' football, and it's great. It's great for young people. It's great for young girls now to be getting that recognition. Hopefully, they can finish the job off. Yeah,
it's been great for the profile.
Yeah, brilliant.
You know,
and that's what they need.
Us being in the US, you see women's football actually being bigger than men's football because of the money that's put into the women's game, and you know what's that done?
But Phil, correct that.
Yeah,
the money they get in America is based on their success.
Yeah, it's like a virtuous cycle, isn't it?
It's not handed to them. It's based on the success. They get the ratings. The women's football team for America is probably more popular than the men's team.
America likes a winner.
Right. And they have brought in incredible TV deals and sponsorship, hence why they're on parity, if not more money than the men. And rightly so. I've always been of that. When I hear people arguing and saying, well, everyone should be equal pay and da-da-da-da-da, I'm like, no, forget about sexes in this. Forget about, as your political party like to call it, gender pronouns or whatever else, you know, when they're introducing themselves. For me, if our ladies team brought in 5 million in revenue and our men's team brought in 3, the women are getting more money. That's just the way it works in the real world, by the way.
The market
dictates
the value,
what you get. And that's what equality should be about. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if I hire you in a position and give a fuck what your gender profile is, if you're doing the job, you're getting paid the money. Do you know what I mean? If you don't, you're not. So listen, brilliant to see it. I think what's great as well is you want to see the more people watch these games, the more people come to these games. We want to eventually, long term, move our ladies to their own training ground, have their own area to play. Right now, they're on the 3G. Occasionally, they'll use our stadium like the end of last season. We want to see that grow to the point commercially where it can afford to stand on its own 2 feet, have their own training facility, have their own pitch to play on match days, and really, really create it from there. And this, what's going on with the England national team, is just going to help. It's brilliant.
So walk me through your pre-season.
Oh, Jesus. Pre-season for me was quick. June was really important. It was 5 in on the list. We got all 5 on the list. Get it done. A lot of it happened while I was on holidays, usually in Dubai. which is fine. I'm used to working in the pool with the Apple iPods in my ear while I was playing volleyball with a family while I was negotiating with agents. So got it done. We got a lot of players out. We still have 2 to get rid of, to move on, to make sure the budget matches. Really good camp in Portugal. I have to say the staff and the players have been brilliant. They're really buying into Grant's vision, Grant's way of working. He's very different to previous managers. I mean that in a good way. Very methodical. The staff are the same. They're very much on the same hymn sheet. They all work towards what they want to get out of this. A lot of it's based on hard work. They have a saying that I'm sure they won't mind me sharing. It's called FIFO. It's fit in, fuck off. And they won't settle for any nonsense. And that goes for the star in the team. That goes for a 16-year-old in the team. So I love the work ethic side. Because anyone who's listened to our podcast know I love hard work. And they're definitely all about hard work. And they're about improving things. And they're very demanding. And they've definitely demanded a lot. And I've given them as much as I can, what we can do. But sometimes you can't get blood out of a stone. You know, we've had a very severe relegation. We were hit hard, and they're well aware of that, and I told them that at the end of May and what we had to do. And hopefully by the time August finishes, we're on a good sound footing and we're in a good shape and ready to rock and roll. So, you know, I know it all starts next week, but for me, end of August is when it really all starts. Because then you know who you have still, who you don't have. You know,
there's still some unknowns of ins and outs.
Yes, unfortunately. And, you know, I said this out in Portugal when Phil interviewed me on the Posh channel that, you know, of course, there could be a sale or two. That's normal, you know. When you have a hole that's in the millions and millions, you know, our fans made a point to me, and I took it on board at the end of May and June, that we're carrying too much debt, and that irritated a lot of fans. It was like, you know, all this success and everything else, but hang on, a club our size shouldn't have as much debt as it does, and they're right. So, you know, I want us to acclimatise to that in the right way. And I don't want headlines by Alan Swan saying, "Oh, fire sale, Peterborough need money." It's not that. If we don't get the offers we want, we won't sell anyone. But we'd like to, you know, run the shop efficiently and really well financially. And, you know, that might mean a sale or two. I can't guarantee that'll happen. I can't guarantee it won't happen. But if it does, we have contingencies and we have plan A, B, C, and D. So that's the way we operate as a football club.
How is your relationship with Grant? Is it different this time than it was the first time around?
Very, 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 very different. When he was I first made him assistant manager and then manager. You know, obviously from being my captain of our football team, you know, I'll be honest, we were closer. You know, and obviously then I fired him, and he's gone away, and he's become a man, and he's become very, let's say, experienced. He's had a couple of big jobs. But he's done terrific at those jobs. And what he's done is he got a great number 2. He's very important to his setup, and that's what I like about him. He knows what he wants. A very good team around him. And they went and won a title. Then they kept Hull in the championship. He's gone through COVID when he lost 15 games in a row and he was getting hammered, and then bounced back to win a title after that. So a lot of good things have happened to him, as I knew they would, because he is that type of person. It's why I chose him when he was young to become a manager. I thought he was made of the right stuff. And he took, when I sacked him, he took that well. Probably carried a bit of a grudge at the time, you know, hence with some of the battles with Doncaster.
I think sometimes
it's natural, but not like majorly. And it's I'd say it's a lot more professional. Whereas before it was probably a lot more personal. Now it's a lot more professional, which is probably a good thing. You know, at the end of the day, some would probably say I was maybe too close to the previous manager. So I don't know. You know, I guess even after 15, 16 years, you're still finding out the right balance and the right way you want to work with people. What's the perfect relation? There is no perfect relationship, but what's the right type of relationship you should have? There's respect there. I respect him, he respects me. My job is to give him as much as I can with what we've got, and his job is to provide success and to work hard every day with his staff, and they do that. They work hard every day. There's nothing negative I could say about the way they go about their work. They're phenomenal workers. Now the proof will be in the pudding. And you know, the expectations for us always is success, and having been relegated, you want to make sure it's a 9-10 month stay and you go back again. So last time was the Vengeance Tour, now it's the Greatest Show on Turf Tour. So that's where I'm coming from. But yeah, all good.
And I imagine you feel like you got all the tools in place to do that.
Oh yeah, and some. Yeah, absolutely. I feel our squad's littered with talent. I think massive strides have been made staff-wise. I think it's quite clear, everyone saw last year, our fitness levels were awful. It affected us the whole season. I'm not blaming the relegation on it. People can blame recruitment, they can blame everything else. At the end of the day, it was like an amalgamation of a shit show of everything, where we weren't fit going into the season. It caught up with us. Our best players were injured long periods of time. I don't want any excuses this year. And I think what Grant's put together is a staff that are very capable, and I don't think you'll find fitness being an issue, and touch wood. I don't think with the squad we have, an injury or two will derail us like last year.
Yeah.
You want to have your best players available, and I think he's going to have his best players available. And I'm really optimistic about, look beyond that to the 23s and the 18s. Grant's massive asset about Grant McCann is him and his staff. They don't care if you're 15 or 50. You know, if they see someone that's good enough, they're calling them up to train. They'll put them in a squad. They'll put them in a match day team. The improvements he's made in players like Poku, Joe Taylor, Ricky, some of the young players is remarkable in 4 or 5 months.
And that's perfect for your philosophy as well, isn't it?
Massive.
Age shouldn't matter.
And big credit to Cliff as number 2 and Dale, his first team coach. He's brilliant. I watch him with the young players. And that's what you want to see. If our academy is going to provide our future in 2-3 years time, like the plan always was when we went Cat 2, we have to have the best coaches available to get the best out of them, and I feel this management team are that. Whilst demanding, I think they back it up with hopefully results, but definitely with hard work. So I can't say any more compliment wise about them than that.
And you brought in, I think, 5 players so far in pre-season. Ben Thompson, Harvey Cartwright, Lucas Bergstrom, Hector Cipriano, and David Ajiboye.
Yes, very good.
I
like your little chart you built with all the ins and outs of all the clubs. You can tell you're a bit bored at back home in Yorkshire, stocked up in the house with the family and the mom and everyone else. But listen, I like that.
I had to do my research.
You did your research, yeah. 2 young goalies, both bundles of ability. Manager wanted to go that way. Totally agreed. Great idea. We've done it.
Is there a clear number 1, or are they going to be competing against each other?
I think there is, but I'll let the manager. Yeah. He will tell you that himself, and I don't pick the team, but I think there is. But we'll see. One of them has a little niggle at the moment, and one of them obviously will play. And then behind them is Will Lakin, one of our youngsters in the under 21s. He's just gone into that group. He's number 3 now, so he's done incredibly well. He's from our academy. Ben, really good signing. Manager pushed really hard for him when he knew Richie Smallwood didn't want him, geographically come to Peterborough. That was in May. He knew that Ben was the person. So we fought hard in making that happen. Compliments our midfield. Hector, he's like a Poku, not in the style of play, in a signing whereby brilliant 2 years ago. Probably didn't have his best year. Late Orient last year, even though he played 40 games. He's young, so much ability, so many good intangibles. I said it about Poku on the podcast last year. We got him cheap because he'd had a down year.
Yeah, I mean, you could have had it would have cost you 3 times more.
Correct, the year before.
Yeah.
And now Poku, people see him on tearing Hull apart the other day.
I think he's one of the...
he'd be a standout player.
One of the players who will be a surprise package for the division because he's got the
Big
skills
time.
pocket.
And he's 20.
Yeah.
And Hector's another one who's physically strong. He's got an engine in him. He can be a 6, he can be an 8. We see a lot of upside, and the minute the manager had him a week, it was just like, Chairman, I'm telling you, this boy, he's got it all. But no rush.
Yep.
You got Taylor, you got Fuchs, you got Ben Thompson. There's no rush. There's again with Poku, we gave him patience with some of these, and I know our fans were a bit like Hector Who and costing money, and some of the Orient fans were tweeting me, the last laugh hopefully will be on them because he's a terrific young talent. I did have a couple of Colchester fans say the same about Poku. And if you ask our players now, our fans, they'll be like,
what I've learned
Poku,
is that,
no party.
Yeah, as a supporter, you don't necessarily see everything. There's players that we brought in that maybe on the outside you look and think, not really sure what, but the manager has a very specific reason. Yep. It's not just, well, we've plucked them, or, we're going to give them a chance. Yeah. It's like there's a reason why. Yeah. And there's things that a manager sees in the play that a supporter sometimes doesn't see.
We watched Hector for 8 months. David, we watched for about 10 months. Again, David, perfect in the manager, likes a 4-3-3, can play along the front anywhere. First time in his life he's done double sessions, so he was like dying it in Portugal. It'll take him a couple of months to settle in. I think with David you'll see him come and have impact off the bench before he maybe breaks in. Not me to pick a team, I'm just guessing here. Compliments, Ricky, Randall on one side, you got Poku, David Ajiboye on the other side. There's a lot of, and then behind that you've got other young talent as well. So really, really happy. If they all stay fit and we have our strongest 11, we have a very good chance, and that's Peterborough for you this summer. And obviously then bids coming in for players is quite normal. That's been happening all summer. I expect that to go on till the end of the window, Philip. Yeah,
and you had George Grant leave to go to Hearts. Mark Beavers went to Australia.
Came to visit me in Dubai, Beaves.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was in Dubai on holiday and wanted me to release him from his contract. We wanted to sell him because he was an asset. And he made it clear that he wasn't going to go to any club in England. Sat with him in Dubai, And we worked out a deal, and off he went to Australia. So I thanked him. He was brilliant for us, and he was, did everything he was brought in to do. Win his promotion, captain the club. I wasn't going to stand in his way of going to Australia. At his age, it was the right move for him and his family. So George never really settled in, never fitted in. Good move for his family and him, and good move for us.
And Johnson Clark Harris then named as new captain.
Yeah, the skip. Yeah, absolutely. Look, him and Nathan Thompson and Frankie Kent are probably your leadership committee. When it came to doing the bonuses with the players in Portugal, that was the three that were sat in front of me. So that was your leadership committee. I think Jono has taken that responsibility. He's in terrific shape. I think he's mentally in a great place. So, I think he's the type of I think he's the type of guy you'd want in an alleyway if you were fighting in a bar fight with 20 people. So he's the guy. So I think he's a good leader, and I think definitely doesn't take any nonsense from the players or the young players. I think the fines are paid on time.
I enjoyed the picture of him with his dog. I think.
That was great, wasn't it? Yeah. I wouldn't fuck with that dog either.
Me neither. Meanwhile, I think every Ipswich fan thinks that they're signing him for £1 million on Twitter.
What I don't get is that I like to have a bit of a banter on Twitter with people. But when people get upset when I go no to somebody saying, well, you should sell that player for 2 million or 3 million, and I go, fuck no. It's like, it's my fault that I have a valuation that they don't like. They want the player, but he's only worth 2 million, or he's only worth whatever else. It's like, get the fuck.
Until he plays for them, and then he's worth
20
million.
million. Yeah, correct. And that's always the way. So I get it. Fans have their own interpretation of valuations. I guess if everyone could do it and knew how to do it, they'd all be doing recruitment in football clubs, right? So at the end of the day, look, every club has a valuation. Bradford would be no different. We're no different. Of course, I value my players highly. I always have done. We've never sold cheap. We do deals that are right for the football club. Clark Harris, he's a hell of a player. He's our captain. So if somebody walks through the door with 2 million, they're going to get laughed out of the park. For a club our size to do that, it says a lot about how we operate.
Yeah, how have you found the transfer market this summer? Because last summer it was, we're still all kind of coming back and recovering from COVID.
Yeah, I've always said, like football recession, probably a football depression. A lot of money is going to Italy, Holland. Holland's the new France, and France, a lot of it's leaving the country as usual. And that always pisses me off. Yeah. If you look at all the business being done, most of it's going the other way. And even clubs in the Champ who are getting big money are then buying foreigners in.
Right.
And it just, that irritates me. It does. I'm not going to lie to you. When you see the billion spent, I'm sure if you did a percentage, it's probably 85% of it's gone abroad. So the trickle down into the pyramid is really poor this year again. And that is disappointing. That pisses me off when I see that, because the young England teams like the one Ronnie just played in, that won, was it his Euros or whatever
the
it was?
19s Euros.
Right, shows you again how good the talent is in the Football League. You don't need, Southampton have got a new policy, fair play to them, I like it. They bought some Man City players. Again, they're spending 10, 12, 14 million on 19-year-olds from France. I got to be honest with you, there's some 19-year-olds better than those 19-year-olds in the Champ and in League One. So when I see that, I'm just like, it's astonishing.
Does it just have a stigma because it's
I think so. It's sexy if you play for Bordeaux, or if you play for Nice, if you play for Ajax, if you play for whoever, and you're 19, 20 and you've had a few good headlines and you've played 40 games, you've played for RB Leipzig, suddenly you're worth 40, 50 million. So I get it, you know what I mean? Yes, I do. I think, with all due respect, there's some unbelievable young talent in the Championship, in League One. Even if you go to League Two, there's some teenagers that could play at the highest level in a couple of years' time. So there's no coincidence that German clubs are stealing a lot of English talent. When I say stealing, buying and investing.
It's interesting how they're getting it really young and then nurturing and then selling back to England for a fortune.
100%. So I would say Jude Bellingham went for 20 million as 17-year-olds, and everyone was like, ridiculous to pay that for a 17-year-old. I'm sure you would find this summer there's a Premier League club that probably bought an 18, 19-year-old, not half as good as Jude Bellingham, and paid more than 20 million. Nobody moans about that. So all I'm saying is there's a hell of a lot of talent in the EFL, and the England team that's done well over the last 2 cycles of Euros and the World Cup, a lot of them were made in the EFL in way of loans, playing, coming from clubs. So I don't get the snobbery. I don't get why technical directors and their scouts have got their head up foreign clubs' arses night and day. Pisses you off. So who knows? I've always spoke about maybe there needs to be some sort of a higher tariff, for Premier League clubs to pay for young players under a certain age in foreign countries. I don't know. Maybe to deter that from happening, so they look more at home domestically, because it would help the pyramid. If we're not getting a bigger slice of the TV deal, maybe that's a way that can help.
How about wages? Are wages back on the rise? Or are you still a glut of players?
The agents still ask. What was really funny was you had players in May, X quote, in wages, and by the end of June it was a half. You know, it's like it's going to be the same every year. Agents will have an expectation in May, different one in June, slightly different one in July, panic in August.
Yep.
So it really, whether you want to be patient and wait, probably a lot of clubs will still do a lot of business in August, because even though you sent me the list, wasn't massive. I'm looking at 3-4 for most clubs in each league. There wasn't, you know, bar, I think it was MT Dons who had like 9,
there's a few
10.
like we did 14. There's a few
You had
outliers,
to, but there was and any club Stevie Boy Evans is at, Gillingham, they've probably signed. There's probably 18 on the list, and God bless Stephen. Good luck to him at Stevenage this season. I want to see him get promoted again, but. I don't think there was like hordes and hordes of players. Me and Barry speak every day and just like, wow, the market's so quiet, you know, as regards to big deals and deals. And there's clubs who have to clean up their shit and do a bit of business and whatever else, and do a bit of player trading. I'll tell you what I've been really impressed with. Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Wow. Only concern is people would say Fulham a couple of years ago, but I actually think their recruitment is miles better. I'm actually really, really impressed. That could egg on my face here, but I actually think Forest are top 15.
Yes.
I like 90% of the signings. Lingard, not sure, but the rest, I really like signings.
I was surprised with Lewis O'Brien leaving Huddersfield
I
and then
love that
Toffolo as
player.
well.
No, I wasn't. I knew Huddersfield had gone back to the previous owner. They want to, like, you know, cut their cloth and do things properly. Wasn't shocked. You can't hold them players back.
Well, I guess I'm happy that Lewis. We've talked about it on the pod before. He was on loan with us. I'm happy for him to see that he's progressed, because he always looked like he had that in.
We had Harry on loan.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm happy for him too, and you couldn't stop those moves if you're Huddersfield, so they did the right business. But I really like Forest business. The boys from Germany they brought in, midfielder, the striker, you know, some really, really solid signings. You know, the boy on loan, Henderson from Man United. I think Cooper's one of the most underrated coaches. So look out for Forest. I think they're going to... Fair play to the owner. That guy obviously gets a lot of criticism from stuff out in Greece and whatever else, but I mean, fuck me, he has really, like... A lot of people go up who haven't been in the Premier League, and a lot of owners take the money.
Yeah.
You know, they do it cheaply, they take the money, and then they come back down.
Yeah.
He's gone fucking like balls to fire, balls
Way
to
to
the wall.
stay.
Fucking absolutely. I mean, he's not taking a pound note back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's spending the Premier League money, and I get why he's doing it. Forest is a massive club. You know, if they get that right and stay in the Premier League for 2-3 years, they'll be there for the next 25.
That's what it takes. I mean, you consolidate, and then you're
correct, but you
setting yourself up.
They'll change everything, because their stadium they'll finally be able to redevelop. I think they've had a lot of planning things. They get 45,000 fans there. If in 5 years' time they're top 12 Premier League, they're getting 40,000 plus fans. So it's a big club. Like Leeds, I said a couple of years ago, you keep yourself there, you got a hell of a chance of growing. So really happy for the Forest fans. I think it's going to be a really, really good season for them.
Have you seen the loan market opening up from the Premier League coming down yet? Because there don't seem to be that many deals.
I see MK Dons have signed a few. I've seen a few, like whatever else. I mean, you know, we weren't really in the loan market this summer, you know, bar the two goalies. You know, from an outfield perspective, no, we weren't looking at it in a big way. Have you got many loans in?
One or two. We haven't, like, historically we've relied on a lot of loans. This time round it's all been permanent signings.
Well, let's talk Bradford, because obviously we've got like half our fan base is probably Bradford fans, so I can tell there's like a nervous excitement in you about this season. You feel like you're here before, like it's a bit deja vu, so you're worried about being too positive. But I can tell you it does feel different. You know, obviously I've kept an eye on pre-season, I've kept an eye on local headlines. Hughes is definitely got the X factor, and I think he's got everyone saying the same thing. Where you're not over optimistic, you're not being arrogant because you're a big club, but you're optimistic in a understated way. Is that correct?
I think that's fair. I think saying the X factor is a really good way of putting it as well, of what Hughes brings. I mean, I think we still in a way pinch ourselves that he's our manager and that he's got all the experience that he has, and that he came down to League Two. I mean, obviously he wouldn't come down to League Two to anybody else. You know, he did a really interesting piece in the Daily Mail a couple of days ago where he's really saying, you know, I'm in it to have fun. You know, obviously I'm not in it to have... he said if I'd have come in and 6 weeks later realised I hated being back, I'd have known that it was time to go.
Well,
but, you know, I'm loving it, and, you know, long may that continue.
Do you like his interviews?
I do, because he just exudes class. You know, when he talks, he's understated. He's
never gets shirty with an interviewer, does
no, he's
not like some manager of an edge to them, where they...
No, I think that he comes over very professional. I had the opportunity to spend about 20 minutes with him last week, and you know, he was just the same. he's not different. I don't think
you.
in public.
Hobnobbing with the
know,
manager. Right? Fucking hell. Having Ryan on the show a few times pays
I
off,
know,
right?
No, I think that was a chance meeting.
Were you salivating? Was there like dribble running down your cheek? It would be like meeting Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden. If you
no, definitely Mark Hughes is top of the list of Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden. No, I mean, he just came over as a very genuine, like no ego. I mean, there's the ego that you need to be a top-level professional sportsman.
Let's stop there.
But
this is a person who's a multi-millionaire, who's managed one of the biggest clubs in the world in Man City during, obviously, the new Sheikh's reign. He was at the start of it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But this is a guy who's an absolute legend at Man United, who played for Barcelona, all right? He's come to Bradford to work for free, basically. And that's no disrespect to the salary they're paying. So absolutely no ego. Absolute class. Because anyone with an ego isn't going, I don't care if it's Liverpool in League 2. They're not dropping to League 2. They're just retiring in line by the pool smoking cigars.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just, I'm sure his wage doesn't pay his pool heating bill. He's obviously come for the love of it and for the challenge and the project and to feel to be part of something.
If he wins the league, he's gone next summer, isn't he?
That's a really interesting question. I mean...
That's why I asked it.
Yeah. I don't know either way.
He's
I'm
gone.
kind of 50-50.
I would imagine, if his son's his agent, isn't he?
Yeah.
I would imagine if his son's clever, the fact you're getting him for fuck all, and I say fuck all respectfully, there has to be a zero release clause for a club higher up to come in and get him. Because I would imagine what Sparky's trying to come, Sparky, you don't mind, you're closer to him than I am now. I would imagine Sparky is trying to rebuild his image in football, A, showing no ego, B, showing I'm going to take this sleeping giant and I'm going to take them back. And I would say after one season, top 10 championship club waves their eyes at him.
Yeah.
He's got to be gone, hasn't he? Even though Bradford's a big club, he's got to be gone.
Yeah, from a contractual perspective.
No matter what, Ryan's never going to be able to give him the budget.
No.
For the top 10 championship club.
And I think there's an acceptance that if that happens, then it's because we're in a good position and we'd rather have that problem than not have that problem.
Yeah.
And that if that happens, then we'll deal with it and figure out, what to do next. I think it would be hard to keep him if he's the one that really gets things going. We're champions.
He's the one.
Yeah, next year you're doing well as in League One. Then there's obviously going to be Championship clubs with much bigger budgets that come and ask questions.
So as Ryan, he was meant to come on today, Ryan, wasn't he?
He was going to come down, but he just couldn't make it today.
No, he's busy. I get it. He's getting big time now. Obviously, he's got Hughesy in there. So joking.
He's got pitches to water. That's one of the things I learned about Mark.
How's he finding without speaking, out of turn?
Yeah.
How's he finding the whole Hughes process?
I think that it's very good for the football club. It's bringing a higher profile for the club. From what I gather, they have a really good relationship.
Good.
Mark has really talked about just give me a carpet kind of thing from a pitch perspective, and I'll sort the rest out for you.
Very good.
So there's been more of an infrastructure that's been put in place as well around transfers.
Very good.
So that Ryan's not the one.
You got a technical director now?
Head of recruitment.
Is he to do with Mark Hughes?
No. So it's Stephen Gent. Who was Middlesbrough, I think.
That's right.
One of the scouts in Middlesbrough. So he does the deals.
Okay.
Yeah. Working with Mark, working with Ryan, but he's we haven't really had somebody in that role for a long time. So that's actually been good for Ryan so that he's not having to go and do all that at the same time as all the other things to do with the club.
And football-wise, you've watched pre-season, you've been over, you're going to the game on Saturday.
Yep.
You got a big one on Saturday, haven't you?
We got Doncaster at home.
Yeah, obviously Donny now with some good signings. My man Lee Tomlin's gone down.
Yeah, I saw that. I was, I'd missed the fact he went to Warsaw last season. So when I was looking at all the ins,
I was in Dubai and I got a message on my phone. It was like, "Dear Dad, do you mind if I come training to get myself fit?" Mm-hmm. So obviously, I went, "Leave it with me, Tom. I'll let me find out." So I said to the gaff, "Look, we're not saying sign him, but do you want him in? Do you whatever else?" So Grant got hold of him and said to him, "Look, you can train with our 23s." And obviously Lee, and in fairness to Grant, he didn't want distractions for the first team. So I got that. And that's why I left the decision with him. So at that point, I think he went off then to try and train with other teams. Lee Tomlin in good shape at 32, 33 is far too good at League Two.
Yeah, we talked about this last year, didn't we? When
far too good at that
I was thinking that he was above what we could have
He'll be
tracked.
a game changer for Donny. Yeah. If he's in shape and he stays fit, he's a game changer. He's somebody I'd be like any club in League Two should be signing. Mm-hmm. Absolute all fucking day long. Cannot believe he didn't have all of the clubs trying to offer him money to go there. So tell me 3 things. Your position you're going to finish, your player of the year, and the surprise.
So where we finish, top 3, I think we've got to be automatic. Player of the year, we just mentioned him there. I think Richie Smallwood just runs the show. Surprise for me, Ryan East.
Okay.
So Ryan East is a youngster, came from Swindon, not a ton of money, somebody that the manager really sees something in as a little bit of an Elliot Watt replacement. But, because he hasn't done great things so far in his career, I don't think there's a lot of expected of him. But the club think really highly of him.
Okay. So, sounds good.
We'll see.
I think Bradford are going to have a good season.
We talked about it on the other podcast that we did a couple of weeks ago, how it might take them away a few weeks to all bed in.
Yeah, like Blackpool, I said a couple of years ago. You're 17, 18, 19 signings. Sometimes it's months, not weeks.
Yeah.
In League 2, you can have months, as Bolton have shown.
Right. It only takes a run.
Absolutely.
It's going to be an interesting League 2 because I think there's so many...
There's no standout favourites, is there?
No, but there's a lot of also-rans.
Stockport seems to be everyone's favourites. Have they done a lot of business this summer? I know they were talking about spending big bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that if I see who they brought Kyle Wooten in from Notts County, who was
somebody
somebody
that signed 2 years ago.
We didn't have the money for at the time. Who else they brought in? Let's see.
Close that window, Joseph.
They brought in Akil Wright from York. They brought that keeper Yaros from Liverpool. Callum Camps from Fleetwood. I mean, there's not big names there.
They have a really, really good established squad.
Yeah,
I think they'll be up there with you for the title.
Yeah, and Mansfield.
Mansfield. I mean, I was gutted for the owners of Mansfield. I liked them as a couple. I know they were devastated at Wembley. Baz was telling me, and they've been down. Yeah. And I think they really, really deserve a shot at League One. So I'm hoping it goes to plan for them this year.
And they brought Pim in.
Yeah, and obviously we've got nice contingencies should they get promoted. So another reason I want them to do well. Yeah. And they bid for Ryan Broom. To be fair,
okay.
They did a 6-figure deal for Ryan Broom, and he has permission to speak to them, but he hasn't spoken to them yet.
No, I know that they, they're certainly spending the money. When you look at us, we're probably playoff level in terms of budget. We have Stockport paying a lot of money.
Don't play it down. Don't do that. You're Bradford. Don't do that. Yeah, I don't want to hear that. So, the wages. No.
Something that's really interesting that goes back to the Mark Hughes effect is as we progress and do well, become more attractive for TV, and then those TV games bring in a lot of money. We got Hull in the first round of the League Cup. On TV, that's $75,000. Just from that game.
Fuckers. We end up with Plymouth away. We're playing them twice away in 5 days.
Well, we had Exeter. We had Exeter 3 times away in like 2 weeks.
I done to the EFL, but our fixtures when they came out was like, whoa! Away first, away at Christmas, away last, and then in the cup, let's get Plymouth away again. Back to back. So yeah, long old journey.
Was it Cheltenham you got first?
We're Cheltenham away first, Morecambe at home. I think we played 9 of the top 12 favourite teams in the league away from home in the first half of the season. I mean, if you designed but listen, they're all you got to play everyone. They're the factors you got to take in. I don't care the tests that have been thrown our way. We have to pass them with flying colours.
And when we look at League 2, there's Northampton who really were robbed a little bit last year with that last day Bristol Rovers.
Yeah, I mean that was a disgrace. What happened there?
Scoring 7, wasn't it? 7 or 8.
I wouldn't have been happy. I think my favourites there would be definitely Mansfield, Stockport, Bradford, and then we need an outside team. Yeah. Wimbledon. AFC Wimbledon.
What do you make of Crewe?
I love Crewe as a football club.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. You know what I mean? They do everything the right way. They get up to League One, and it's a bit like us in the Champ. They're trying to get to League One and stay there and still follow that process. Like we're trying to get to the Champ and stay there. So I'm always empathetic to their plight. But they're such a well-run football club. I can never say anything negative about Crewe. Do I think they could have an outside? Of course, because they always come up with the next batch of young talent. And they're going to be better this year than last year because the experience they went through, like our young players in the Champs. So don't write them off either. 4 teams go up. So, we've named a few there. Probably going to upset some fans leaving some teams out. But, and after watching Grimsby and the spirit and character they showed, and Hurst seems to be with them what Ferguson is to Peterborough in the past, they could do okay. And then, like I said, AFC Wimbledon. I like Ivor who runs it down there. You know, it's a club with the fan base. You know, I want to see do well. And I think with Johnny Jackson, I think they'll do well.
We got Crawley, who are spending the money with their
NFT
money.
I don't know enough about that. I don't know enough about it. Someone asked me before, the whole NFT, the currency shite, the obviously crypto world. You know, it's such a new thing for me, and I hate speaking about things I don't have a real understanding of. So I hear they're going to be spending money or spreading the wealth or doing whatever, but I don't know. I mean, you looked at the signings. Is there anything standing out there that says they're spending loads of money?
Dom Telford.
Yeah, but he was free.
Well, he's on a lot of money a week, though.
But is he? What's he on? You know, a lot of these... It's really funny. When I was in Dubai, Mark Ashton, we spoke. And he was in Croatia, I was in Dubai. And with a really good conversation, obviously, I hadn't spoken to him since he was at Bristol, now he's running Ipswich. He said to me on the phone, he said, Darragh, do me a favour. He said, no doubt you're getting all of the agents playing their usual game. Oh, Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday are in for the same player. And I said, of course, Mark, every year you get a couple of clubs with names who are spending money allegedly, and the agents will try and use that against you. And he said, next time you get one, he said, let's do a 3-way call and we can blow out of the water. And I was like, love that, absolutely. So, you know, and I believe him. You know, everyone's out there saying, oh, Ipswich are throwing around stupid wages and whatever else. He's not a mug.
Yeah.
He's not going to run a football club badly. And he's not going to be offering players twice what they're actually worth. So that's just shit that gets out there. And I'm sure it pisses Ipswich fans off. Everyone's saying, oh, they're spending loads of money. They're doing things their way. And don't forget, they have a massive fan base. They spent £1 million on a left back yesterday.
Yeah.
But what people don't understand is they probably made 2.5-3 million from the Flynn down sale.
Yeah.
They probably had a sell on when he went from Swansea to West Ham. And they're doing things sensibly. And them spending that kind of money on a left back, they see has got a lot of upside. And he won't be on the stupid wages everyone says. It'll be sensible.
And they're going to be paying it over 3-4 years.
Yeah, of course. So you know, it's a well-run football club. So we were just just chuckling about people throw around like, oh, Crawley must have paid Dom Telford, but did they? You just don't know. You don't know what the market is. What's big money? They give him $3,000 a week for 3 years for a league and goal scorer. Okay, is that big money in League Two for a Golden Boot winner?
I understand it's a fair bit more than that, but I mean,
it's more than that. Bradford should have signed him, right?
Yeah. He's out of our range.
You say that sometimes, and I go back to this. I would never want to overspend, but always through historical promotions for us, we've had one or two standout players.
Now, where do you stand on a player who has had a career-defining season, but it was his only season where he's really scored? You're looking at buying
we
players.
Watched him. You know, I mean, obviously it wasn't for us in the end, but we watched him a few times, as anyone who scores those kind of goals demand that you do. I just think when you're in a league like League Two and you want to get out of it, sometimes that's sensible. If you can go in and bring a player that you think can do it again.
Yeah.
It's always a worry when they've only done it once, but he's young. If he was 29, 30 and he'd only done it once, you know, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he's at an age where you think, okay, this might be the start of his career. But look, hopefully it goes well for the lad of Crawley.
How about strugglers?
I hate talking about it. And the one dark horse I've got in League Two is Steve Evans, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't mention him, but I know the way he operates. I know he would have demanded, you know, probably the biggest budget at Stevenage they've ever had, because that's what he will do. We played them pre-season. They were very good. And I think they will surprise a lot of people. Strugglers, I can't... You give me the names. You know that league better than me.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, I hate putting people in strugglers because
I know.
you mentioned the R word. I hate that.
You know, when you look at...
Let's just stick to who's going to be successful.
All right.
Let's not talk negatives.
So, and it's Stevenage, I looked, 11 players in so far, 1 out. So, certainly increased the size of their squad.
Yeah, they will be... You will not enjoy playing them, and they will be tough to beat.
Yeah, you got the likes of Swindon, Tranmere, still who are going to be up there, I
Good
imagine.
League, competitive.
Gillingham, I'm not sure. I mean, they had struggled last year, but they got a good manager in Neil Harris.
Definitely, can't believe he's there.
Time will tell.
Let's move on to League One.
All right, well, let's take a quick break.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll come back with
Change
League
the
One.
videos.
Yep, Championship
Brilliant.
and the Premier
Back
League.
after the break, folks. And listen, one last thing. Sponsorship opportunities, as always. Contact Phil at...
contacts@hardtruthfootball.com.
See you
Cheers.
after the break.
Well, welcome back to the pod, and we're going to talk about League One.
What a league.
And it's kind of hard for you because you don't want to be saying too many things out of turn and having everyone using that against you.
Brutally honest, you know, it is a competitive league. You saw last year. I mean, there was 7 clubs in the 80-point range. I mean, you know, the top 4 or 5 clubs could have won the league going into the last 2 weeks of the season. It's an incredible. We've always known this. Every time we've been promoted from that league, there's been giant clubs. When I say giant, like clubs of history.
Yeah.
It's no different this year. You know, you can name them all. You know, there's so many ex-Premier League clubs in League One, with expectations like ours, with fan bases that are bigger than our fan base. But it doesn't matter. It comes down to good recruitment. Comes down to your fans staying with you. Ours always do when we're in League One. You know, it's going to be a fascinating season. So, you know, you tell me who are your favourites in League One.
I mean, obviously I'm biased, and I think that you do really have a strong chance, because I think that the squad that you have was unlucky because of the things we talked about last year to get relegated. You can't go much further than Ipswich. It's going to be interesting to see Sheffield Wednesday. I know, big club, and they've brought in a few more players this time. They brought in a couple of lads from Rotherham. I think they got promoted last year. What they do. Derby. I mean, they're a bit of an unknown. Like, where do you stand on Derby? Are you?
Listen. I mean, they've been through the mill. I mean, their fans have been absolutely tortured for the last 15 months with it on and off. I think, where do I stand now? The owner owns the stadium. He's cleared all the debts. He's got an excellent young coach who is, I believe, the brains behind Rooney's operation already. So I think Derby have got a good manager. They've got some very good young players they've been left with that haven't been nicked or taken during the whole fiasco that was going on before. They've signed some massive big names, you know, experienced players. They're going to be a threat. They're going to be favourites. They're the bookies' favourites, aren't they, straight away? They went from not being favourites to the favourites in the space of 2 weeks from signing all those players. So,
well, we have that. It doesn't matter what squad we've got. We're always the
you're
bookies'
always favourites. So
because,
you can't discount Derby. They're going to be very good, and that's not just because of the players. That's because of the size of the fan base and a good management staff. So, and now they're in financially sound situation where I presume the owner might open a checkbook up in January again if they need to. So, can't discount them. There's so many good clubs in that bloody league.
Plymouth did well last year, and they only added
growing on the pitch, bigger attendances, well-run football club. You know, new manager last year. Obviously now this is his first full season. Can't be discounted. You know, not an easy place to travel to. So, you know, who else is in there?
We've got Barnsley, who brought in Michael Duff from Cheltenham.
Excellent manager.
Which is going to be hard for Cheltenham.
Lost a lot of talent. Don't discount. Cheltenham are good. They've got a good manager in there who wants to play the right way. They've done really well last year. They like to score goals. Should be an interesting first game. No games are easy in this league. We got promoted 2 years ago and we lost like 4 of the first 5.
Right.
You know, we got beaten by Cheltenham. We got beaten by Accrington and Stanley. We got forget who else. Everyone beat us at the start. So don't get excited the first few months. You know, it's like I said to you before, Blackpool signing all those players. They went on a run from November onwards. Bolton are going to be good again this year.
Yeah, Bristol Rovers did it last year in our league.
Rovers are going to be a threat. Joey Barton's really turned them around.
Bolton again.
I just said Bolton to you as well, and MK Dons have brought a lot of money in, brought a lot of new players in. I'd hate to be a bookie picking 3 teams to go out of that league, and I can't because it's my league, so I never predict. So you have to pick the 3 that are going up.
Yeah, if I'm picking right now, I am picking you. I'm picking. Let me see. I'm looking at the list here. I think that Derby will come through the playoffs after probably a time of getting. It's like getting over the honeymoon of being of surviving and now having all these new players coming together. And the third one, I'll go with MK Dons.
Wow.
Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of.
We didn't even mention Charlton.
No.
We didn't even mention Wickham, who've done incredibly well the last couple of years. I'm sure there's another big. Portsmouth. I mean, Christ. Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm going through clubs here, and you're
Oxford,
thinking,
who have done. I mean,
signed a good player yesterday, good manager. You know, so again, wouldn't want to be a bookie, wouldn't want to be a pundit picking from that league, and I won't because it's my league. So, you know, anything stand out for you in League One?
You know what I'm interested to see is how the the promoted clubs in League 2 do, and like where do you see the gap between League 1 and League 2? Is it so much of a jump now, or are they?
We went up; it was like double promotion, so we kind of adapted because of the style and the type of players we had. I think Bristol Rovers will adapt fine; they'll do really well.
Yeah.
Who else came
you
up?
got Forest Green, who came up as champions.
Forest Green. They lost their manager. They lost their fullbacks, who were a big part of their play. Matty Stevens had the ACL. Not sure. Should be fine. They've got a lot of money behind them with the guy who owns them. Who else?
Port Vale, you were saying.
Port Vale. Carol runs a great place. Really happy she got promoted again. Don't know enough about them. But not a small club.
And Exeter really haven't done any business so far.
Again, their own players, their own way of doing things. Not an easy place to travel to. an unknown quantity, a club you want to do well because they operate the right way. I've always said this: any club that operates the right way, like an Exeter, like a Crewe, those kind of clubs, you always fight. You want them to do well. You don't want them to do bad. I don't want any club to do badly, but you do. You're like, I want them to do well.
Because you want the clubs that are doing the right thing to be recognised for doing so, and other clubs to follow the same.
To show it works. Yeah. To turn around and go, hey, look at us. We're doing things outside of a big checkbook, and it works. And that gives hope to the whole pyramid.
Surprise package in League One.
Ooh, surprise package. Bristol Rovers.
Okay.
Not that they should be a surprise because they're a big club anyway, but again, for me, a lot of people would see them as a surprise package. I won't. But I think they'll do well.
And most clubs coming up from League 2 to League 1 are just focusing on survival the first year.
I think they're the ones.
All right, let's go to the Championship then.
Let's do it.
So, where do we start with the Championship? Let's go with those that came down.
Yep.
So we have Norwich.
Yeah, usually they bounce back quite easily.
Yeah.
Couple of signings, nothing major. Still a lot of the players that went up last time. Third time in 5 years, can they do it? More competitive league. Probably still need to do a bit of business. Lose their goal scorer, Pookie, they have an issue.
Yeah.
Who else?
We got Watford, who went down as well.
Haven't done any business really yet, have they?
No, they've got someone from Charleroi, someone from Barcelona.
I'm
someone
really
from
surprised the manager from Forest Green who went there didn't go after his two fullbacks and wing-backs.
Yeah, who ended up at Barnsley and
Bristol City.
Yeah,
great signing for Bristol City, Kane Wilson. I'm really surprised he didn't sign Buchanan and Wilson. I'm shocked. Like, massive the way he played, part of the way he plays, his style. I imagine that's the formation he's going to play. Both were out of contract. I think one was under 24, one was over. Just a no-brainer for me. So it'd be interesting to see how it works. Big club. They had a horror start 2 years ago and went through the third manager and then got promoted. So everyone can have a dig at Watford's ownership structure, but it seems to work for them when they get back to the Premier League. So,
and what about Burnley? What are your expectations?
I like the business they've done. I know the owners had a bit of shit thrown his way because of the surroundings of how he financed the purchase, which is no one's business as long as he pays his bills, and I think he does. I like the signings. I like the business they've done. It'd be interesting to see what company's like. He wasn't hot on Anderlecht, was he? I think Bellamy's a big part of what he does. I think Burnley have got to be one of the favourites. I do. I like the business.
We've talked before about how they really need to make it. Like, they can't afford a prolonged stay in the Championship, really.
No, you've got 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
As a club that comes down, you've got 2 years to get back up. Bournemouth did it. Year one failed, year two went back up. I think you've got 2 years before how can I put this? Things start going off quickly. Parachute payments dwindle down. The factory you've done and bringing money forward goes down, and now you're cutting. And then you fall into that lull where you could end up like a Birmingham, where you're 15th, 16th, 17th every year. So I think 2 years.
And talking about 2 years, how about Sheffield United this time around?
Dangerous. Still got good players. This is the year they got to go up.
Yeah.
Has to happen this year.
Yeah, they haven't really brought in anybody yet. They brought in Tommy Doyle from Man City on loan.
They had a lot of good players already. They bought a centre back for $5 million, I think.
Is that the chap from Malmo?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think they're equipped to go up.
And what about the ones that came up? You obviously know all about trying to acclimatise into the Championship.
I'm not sure. Hopefully they do well and stay up. This will be like third time in 5 years or whatever else. Who else went up?
Let's see.
Oh, Wigan haven't done any business. Really surprised by that. So question mark there. But obviously they must have confidence in the squad that went up. Fair play. You stick to your convictions, and if it works, and great. Who's the third team?
Sunderland.
Oh yeah, Sunderland comfortable.
Yeah.
Alex Neil experience, very good squad, good age balance. Will be much better this year. I would expect Sunderland to be dark horse.
All right, let's see if there's anything else worth talking about in the Championship.
Middlesbrough, bringing a lot of money in. They've obviously sold Spence. Tavernier is next to go, I believe. They've got a manager who's ambitious. I would envisage they're probably going to be the busiest club before now at the end of the window. For me, I think they need to be if they're going to want to give Wilder the tools to go up. But I could be wrong.
And a couple of others, West Brom, another one that didn't do what was expected.
Some good
of them
free
last
signings.
year.
I like the signings. It'll be the Bruce effect. It can go one way or the other. One, he's brilliant at winning promotion from that league and has worked. And two, If it doesn't start well, will they start going bitter towards him in the fan base? So, and he doesn't deserve what some of the stick he gets.
Yeah.
So that'll be like that, you know. Blackburn's an interesting one. Obviously trying to sign one of our players. You know, we'll probably lose, I would imagine, Burton Diaz for the right money. Lost a lot of good players last year. Mowbray. Don't know enough about their manager, but it could be an exciting project. Sometimes a refresh is what's needed. So you have to trust the people in charge. So it'll be interesting.
And the other one, just to bring up, is Luton. You know, did so well last year.
Yeah, played them last week.
Is that a one-time and it's hard to follow that, or are they
I have
building
too much
something?
respect for Gary Sweet, Nick Crawford and Nathan Jones. I think they're three very, very good people. I think they know what they're doing. And I think Luton will be again in the top 10 and challenging. And it'd be interesting to see if Coventry can bridge the gap of they were so close and then petered out.
Yeah.
And now how do they give it that little extra? That's the difficult one. You're going to your board and saying, hey, I got like top 11. Now I want to get to 6. We need a little bit more. And you're a bit like, if it goes wrong and da-da-da-da-da. And if they lose Callum O'Hara, I believe, is it Burnley or trying to play him or whatever it is. And, you know, that'll be interesting. So, and they haven't done a lot, I don't think, this summer, Coventry. I might be wrong about that.
Coventry haven't. They've got, 5. They brought
in. 5? Right, okay, then I'm wrong. I apologise, Coventry fans.
Couple of frees, couple of loans.
Okay.
One undisclosed.
Do you know what? Again, you're always going to get 1 or 2 surprises in the champ, and then you're going to get the usual suspects who are up there. QPR is another one to keep an eye on. Birmingham, you worry about, obviously, the ownership, the changes, the manager going. Huddersfield lost the playoff final manager. They've promoted from within. Lost 2 of their best players. Haven't really done any business. You know,
it's a strange one. Is that you know Corcoran leaving and then?
No, I think some managers think so highly of themselves. They think this is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And if I stay any longer, knowing I'm losing 2 of my best players, I ain't repeating that. And now my star isn't going to shine. So I get why he did it. I would hate it if I were the club, and doing it so close to the season starting would fucking irritate the life out of me. Because do it at the end of May.
Yeah, if you're going to do it, let us plan for it.
Do it then. Because I know Dean Hoyle, who runs Huddersfield, he's an honest person.
Yeah.
He would have always made it clear. I presume he now owns it and runs it. He would have made it clear that if the right offer came in for Toffolo and O'Brien, they're going.
Yeah.
Just like I would say to our manager, when I told him in May, these are our plans, there's no surprises. You're honest. So I'm amazed the manager pulled that crap. So I'm not worried about them. The recruitment team's very good there. They don't spend money, but they bring in frees and stuff, and they do very well. The money they did spend in Rudoni, I like that move. I like the player. And if we could have afforded to have bought him and had room, we would have done that deal. And I think it was a very, very sensible deal. And I think it'd be a young asset that will do well for them. Birmingham, no idea. Reading have signed a lot of free, club obviously that was in trouble, embargo, and now they've actually signed some, decent signings. It's going to be an interesting league. Name 3 that are going up.
3 going up this year. Let me see. Going through my list here. I'm going to go with Middlesbrough.
Yep.
I will go with Sheffield United, who we talked about there, and probably Watford.
Okay.
How about you?
Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Sheffield United, and I would say either Norwich or Watford being lazy.
Yeah.
And a dark horse would be this year Coventry or Luton again.
Interesting. All right.
Oh, sorry, I'll take my dark horse back because
Okay.
it's too boring because they did that last year. My dark horse is Sunderland.
I'm interested to see what Sunderland do, because we talk all the time about momentum, and if there's any club that gets the momentum behind it and can really take them places, it's Sunderland.
Monstrous club. And I think that, like I said before, squad's great balance age-wise, really good experienced manager, good ownership structure now. I think that it's changed there. Have brought back the players on loan and made them permanent where they've spent their money, and a good academy. I think they could catch fire again very quickly. Now they're out of League One. Watch them go.
Now in the Premier League, I think there's probably still a lot of business still to be done between now and the end of August.
Man City, Liverpool,
and
the rest I couldn't care about. That's your top 2.
And how are you feeling about Liverpool right now?
Like it. Stay fit. We got a chance. City lose Haaland, we win the league. Haaland's not always played 40 games a season. There's been question mark over his fitness. So really, we stay fit. They lose him. I think we win the league. I think City. We've got nothing in reserve with Sterling gone. I know they brought the Argentinian boy in. They lose Haaland, and I think it's our chance to win the league. I think Nunez, who's been slaughtered during pre-season until he scored 4 goals against Leipzig, I think he will be sensational. I've seen enough of him. I like him. I think a front three now, Diaz, him, and Salah on the other side. I think we could win the league and the Champions League. Stay fit. Next summer is our problem. Next summer we have to get 2 central midfielders.
What do you make of Mo Salah signing on?
Brilliant. 3-year deal. Good for him. Good for us. Exactly what we needed. He's our talisman. He was tired at the end of the season. He's had a break. I expect him to break records this year. I do. I see some big things for Liverpool this year.
And how about Calvin Phillips going to Man City?
Yeah, brilliant deal for the boy. I think Leeds. I worried about Leeds when they lost him and Rafinha, but I understood they couldn't keep them. The Leeds are a big club, but those players would want those moves.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see all the European-based business they've done.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I'll give the owner credit for, and Victor, they've gone out and splashed 90 to 100 million. They've actually spent every pound out they've brought in, if not more. Not sure on their manager, but I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see. I think they'll be fine. The most interesting project is my old man, my friend Rasmus from Brentford, who's now part of the ownership structure at Southampton.
Okay.
And you can see his fingertips behind some of the recruitment stuff. You want it to work. You want to see them get young and hungry. We haven't seen a Premier League club go out of their way and buy just teenage talent from Man City's academy, France, other countries. It'll be interesting to see with that manager, Ralph Hasenhuttl, how that goes.
I'm surprised. Let's see. Oh, how about Brentford? Brentford, obviously, they were doing well and then brought Christian Eriksen in, who really took them to the next level. I think for the fairy tale, everyone would have loved for him to stay there, but it wasn't going to happen.
I don't blame the player.
No, you can't blame him.
No, but Brentford had the option when they gave him the deal to sign him for 18 months.
Yeah.
But they only took 6 months. So sometimes you as a club make that call
Yeah.
too. I like the 2 bits of business. I like the left back, and I like obviously Lewis Potter, Ian Potter from Hull.
Yeah.
I want Ivan to get over 100 million because of our sell-on, but I don't think that's happening. Brentford will be absolutely fine. No issues whatsoever. Chelsea, I think, looking at what's going on there, I'm not sure, as regards to...
Tuchel's already making noises about not being happy.
Yeah, and the owner made a decision. He was going to... I heard it from agents as well, that he was doing the deals and stuff. And I think, I'm that type of person, but when you're new to the business and new to the game, even though he's in sports in America, it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. They're going to leave it late. I don't think they'll still be top 3. I still think they'll get 3rd, but it's going to take a few months. And I think they've got to sign another 2-3 players minimum. Arsenal, I like it. Not sure on I like the business they've done. I like it. Let's see how they get on about the big clubs. Right. Because the big clubs have always cost them 4th place. So let's see them bridge that gap. I think the minute Arsenal get back to 4th or 3rd, they're back in business. Because I said it last year, I love their model, I love the business. I think in 2 years' time they're going to be title competitors.
Right.
Because I said that in the podcast.
It's just really taking time and people need to be patient with it.
So that needs to be backed up with Champions League. Champions League this year, title challenge next year. People always joke. I keep saying that they're owned by Kroenke. He's one of the richest men in the world. What they're doing right now has his son's fingerprints all over it with Edu, and it's a good thing. And I think Arsenal could be in for a golden period.
It's like you need to get him interested again. And
correct, and his son's interested, which helps, and that's where the money will be spent. And they've outspent everyone the last 2 summers, I think.
So is Ronaldo staying or going?
Couldn't care. Love him as a player. Think he's brilliant and whatever else. I don't think he's doing United any favours with all of this. I don't know what United, I like their manager. I like his business. Baz watches Man United TV, big Man United fan. We were talking the other day. It just seems every summer there's 2 players United go after and it drags on to the end of the window. Before it was Sancho over 3 windows and there was other players and Pogba coming back. It's like, try and get your deal done in June. If it's going to be a shit show, fucking move on to someone else. Like the young thing from Barcelona. Yeah, it's just constant. The striker, Anthony,
it distracts you.
He's not worth 60 million. It's just a distraction. It's a shit show. Yep. Ronaldo, I'd say to him, get your ass back to fucking Carrington. And I don't give a fuck if he's an icon or a legend. You don't do the shit you've been doing.
No player is bigger than a football club.
No, they're not. So do you know what? You turn around and go, I'll tell you what you do. You report back and you play for the 21s.
Yep.
Until you get your attitude shipshape. End of story, end of argument. It's my way or the highway. You're contracted to us. Not taking any of this nonsense. Don't care who you are. All right. This is a new dawn. It's a new era, and you're not going to get to pick and choose what pre-season tour you go on, whether you're coming back, whether anyone wants you for the Champions League.
Yeah, it's his reputation that suffers if he does that.
Enough. My manager's motto is right. FIFA, fit in, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? And it's correct, and it should be the same at all football clubs. But I'm worried about United coming back now. I think this manager's different mustard. It's not going to be us playing them off the park in games, beating them 3 and 4-0 like we've been doing the last year. So that is a quiet concern of mine.
And if I look at the promoted teams, it's really surprising to me to see the lack of business that Bournemouth have done so far.
Forest all day long. Bournemouth did a lot of their business in January. I think it was quite clear their owner wasn't going to be splashing the cash. I understand that. I understand the circumstances. I'm not going to judge them. Scotty Parker's got a lot of work to do. If the striker can take the championship form to the Premier League, the big fella, they've got a chance of staying up. If not, they're fucked. But you know, I at the end of it, you want them to do well because because of their gate size and the size of their stadium.
And you could do with them doing well as well, I'm sure.
Well, listen, I'd love them or Dembele to get in the 11. I'd love them to like stay up. Of course, I've got promotion bonuses, but listen, that's to the side. I'm giving my pundit's opinion at the moment. You know, I think Forest are going to be the team who are going to do best out of everyone that came up. And
finally, Everton. Are they in for another season of hurt?
Concerned. Yeah, very much. If I'm a fan of theirs, very concerned.
Yeah.
You know, they're selling their best player. Nobody really coming in. A young manager, obviously, watching them getting tanked 4-0 in America. Yeah, I'd be concerned. Very concerned by that, for sure.
All right, well, let's leave it at that.
We're done
for this week.
Cool. So we're going to obviously do next week. You're obviously coming to the Morecambe game, so we'll be back after the Cheltenham game. Is that correct?
Yes. So we may do something next week straight after the game, probably a shorter one to go out next week, and then we'll get into the habit of doing these
every week,
as much as we possibly can.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, Philip, for coming to the Mighty Posh.
You're welcome. Thank you for the hospitality.
Have a great season, Bradford fans.
Fingers crossed. All right. Thanks everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye.